We try our best and we're successful. Come watch our show. Bet with the sponsors. It's time to start, enjoy the show. Give me your picks, give me your insights. I want the best on betting weekly. Because we win, that is our motto. Sometimes we win, sometimes we don't win. Don't give us the balance, don't give us your stink eye. We try our best and we're successful. Don't watch our show, bet with the sponsors. It's time to start, enjoy the show.
Welcome aboard, everyone, to Betting Weekly Live. It is Wednesday, the 14th of May. You're with Steve Wyss, and I am delighted to be alongside Ruairidh Barlow, our Spanish handicapper and specialist out there in Madrid. How's the weather doing in the Iberian Peninsula, Ruairidh?
Well, confession to make, I'll pull back the curtain. I've got a wedding on Friday, so I'm actually in Ireland currently, where the weather is weirdly better than it is in Madrid. But yes, I flew in yesterday, and the weather's been up and down in Madrid. So yeah, nice to finally get some sun on the Costa del Emerald. So,
well, yeah, I've heard that it's actually been a really poor year for weather down in Spain, Portugal compared to normal. Unusually cold start to 2025. I'm sure things will warm up when you get back there. But yeah, I hope you've been doing really well. I'm sure you're really enjoying this midweek La Liga slate. Welcome in, everyone. How did we get on yesterday? Real sort of up and down day for me. I did get Celta Vigo on that draw no bet, but me and Jack, we both fancied the goals there. I got halfway up my ladder in the Coventry corners market. But, it was kind of ups and downs, just going through some notable winners. It was a really good day, actually, on the sportsbook for notable winners on the soccer card. $5,200 on Sunderland to go through live at -128. What a great way to win that is for someone. The last-minute goal, last-second goal for Sunderland to take them through to the playoff final. And there was actually someone else who backed Sunderland to win in extra time on the money line at +900. $500 there. Winners on Sevilla in running, Girona in running, and also someone managed to bag FC Zurich in Switzerland on the money line at +600, $2,000 play there. I was watching. It was a day of few goals in La Liga. Some tense matches, Rory. There was all eyes on that Sevilla game in particular. If they lost it, I kind of feared for the players' lives, but they got the job done. It was a tense one. The referee controversy again. Did you profit on that game? 1-0 Sevilla probably would have been on a lot of people's radars, in fairness.
Yeah, I mean, Sevilla, the way that they're playing, this was just a get-out-alive game in very much a literal sense. What you were saying, for context, just to add for people that weren't aware, Sevilla over the weekend, they returned to their training ground to a very angry mob of fans who managed to get into the Ciudad Deportiva, into the training ground facilities, and they ended up spending the night there at the training ground facilities. They ended up having a heart-to-heart is probably the wrong word or the wrong term, but a conversation with their very angry fans. And so yeah, it was very much a game against fear for Sevilla. But yeah, they get out of jail against Las Palmas, who weirdly, they've still got 2 games left. And if they win both of them, I know that's unlikely, but if they win both of them, they have 3 points to play with above Alaves. So weirdly, they were talking as if they were down already yesterday. So yeah, unless I'm missing something huge, I'm quite baffled by that. But
just want to welcome everyone into the chat. There were several of you commenting even before we went live today. Leslie Mack, good to see you. Ubermensch, he's excited today. We've got a good slate, and I will be talking about the Swedish midweek card later as well. And he's siding with Valencia, Madrid. I presume that's Real Madrid, Milan, AIK, and Hammarby. And he's got a lean. No, not a lean. He's going Leganes +1.5 maybe. You might be able to convince him there, Rory, not giving anything away. Daniel Lucani, Ming Chung, Rick Haley, Diski, Byron, Duncan, Dave, Rick the Brick, Umbrello, Charles. So many of you in already. Fadi Azam, great to see. A real Brandon King, Tobias, Ginepi as well. And yes, producer Troy does say the crazy finish there, the Sunderland Coventry game. It did have sort of Troy Deeney vibes against Leicester, didn't it, all them years ago? And then the Aguero last-minute winner, of course, for Manchester City. Not going to be doing Eredivisie today, unfortunately, Kushal. But I mean, this is a midweek La Liga round. I mentioned it yesterday, how late in the season it is for a full midweek round. You know, often in other leagues, you get 2 or 3 games played midweek this time of the year, but a whole midweek round. And I noticed yesterday, obviously, there weren't many goals. And, okay, the Sevilla game was always could have been tense because of what's at stake. But, I mean, Celta Vigo, for example, I mean, they don't keep clean sheets very often. I was watching that game and it just felt like we're in result mode here. Teams just need to get the result and they do what they need to do. They don't maybe play their normal way. It's the result that matters, not the performance, not the style. But also, could there be maybe an element of fatigue? A long season has come in play. There's quite a few teams look tired out there. I didn't really want to open up too much. Or am I just reading into too much into 3 games or not?
I mean, on the one hand, with those 3 games that you mentioned, we are talking about teams that, apart from the likes of Celta, they are teams that generally don't score a lot of goals. So that is one factor, I think. But you're right in terms of fatigue, in terms of, I think managers more than anything will see their teams fatigued. We'll see that it's been a long season. We'll see how close they are to either disaster or triumph, and are less likely to maybe take the risks that they would in week 30 or week 25 when there's a little bit less on the line. So I think you do see that. I think Celta are a perfect example, whereas maybe they would be a little bit more open and free-flowing. And yes, Borja Iglesias did miss a glorious chance to maybe get a few more goals on the board, as you're saying there, Giuseppe. But yes, I think in general you will see teams be a little bit tighter, but also I think teams like Leganes, particularly, who we'll talk about this evening, Las Palmas, those teams know how close they are to defeat. So they're probably, it's almost desperation mode defensively. And in an attacking sense, you're maybe a little bit less likely to invent, to be creative, to be frivolous with the ball, to put it like that. So yeah, I do think there's something in what you're saying, Steve, generally. But with these end of season games as well, I think this is the hardest time of the season to predict, because you just don't know what's happening in terms of motivations for teams, what bonuses are on the line, what kind of managers are on the line, or what jobs they know. I mean, Vicente Moreno, the Osasuna manager, announced today that he won't be there next season, despite the fact they've got a conference place kind of on the line in these last 3 games. So yeah, it is a very, very difficult time of the season to bet on today.
Yeah, well, we're going to go through all of the 3 La Liga games today. Coppa Italia final, Sweden Allsvenskan midweek round, and then before we leave off, I will get your thoughts on tomorrow's La Liga games as well, Rory. So let's get stuck in, shall we? And I mean, I think this is a really tough game, actually. Villarreal against Leganes. There's a massive favourite here, minus 315 on Villarreal, but I still find it a really tough game because what I do know of these 2 teams is completely contrasting styles. We've got one team in Villarreal who generally full of goals. You get quite a lot of over sort of fixtures, the clear favourite, and Leganes, who they do lack goals, but they have been able to cover handicaps this season. Quite a tough side to break down if they're really in the mood. So I wouldn't really know which way to go. For me, this didn't really stand out. I don't really like it when there's a clash of styles too often, Rory. But someone mentioned Leganes plus 1.5 on the Asian handicap there in chat. And this is going to be your pick for the game as well. You like the dog here to keep it close.
Yeah, I'm backing you, Giuseppe. I think you've analysed that well, because even though I tend to kind of go off what I know about teams and what I know about players and the way they come into these games first, and then kind of look at the stats, sometimes the stats do tell you truths about these teams. And for Villarreal, 1 game in their last 13 have they won by more than 1 goal. For Leganes, 1 game in their last 10 have they lost by more than 1 goal. So yeah, that handicap works out perfectly for me. I think it was at minus 115 when I mentioned it might have come in a little bit more, maybe 120 or so just recently. But yeah, Leganes are going to keep this tight. They're on a hiding to nothing in this game in a certain sense, because Villarreal, they know they need the win. So I think Leganes will take that and say, break us down, make us come out of our shell, and we'll try and hit you on the break. And even though Leganes don't really have too much in terms of kind of goal-scoring potential themselves, I think this will just be tight and cagey all the way through, because even Villarreal, lately, even though they're still scoring goals, they're not really putting teams away. And that, well, the stat obviously suggests that, but they're not putting teams away. Ayofe is kind of the one I was looking at to score or assist in this game as well. I think he was at plus 115. And And yeah, these are two teams that both need a result that I don't think are going to risk too much. But I'd still make Villarreal favourites, even if I'm not kind of certain about how it's going to play out.
Yeah, the +1.5 Asian handicap is what you like here. I can tell you just some stats on the game in terms of the sports book. 91% of the money on the money line is on Villarreal. I actually thought there'd be even more. I thought it'd be close to 99%. 78% of the money on the over-under market is on the over. Now, over 2.5 goals is at -290 in this game, which Villarreal are known for high-scoring fixtures, but with Leganes involved, I wouldn't be backing -190 over 2.5 goals, Rory. Don't know about you. That just feels a bit too short, really, considering the circumstances. This is a dog that have caused problems at times this season. They don't win many games, but they have had several draws. They're actually unbeaten in 4 straight fixtures. And Villarreal, have they morphed into a result team of late? 2 times 1-0 wins in the last 3. That's not very Villarreal-like, is it? Really, across the whole season.
I would say the caveat to that is, having watched those games, they were games in which the Girona game was a weird game in general, because there were games in which, like, Villarreal had more chances, but both teams were just dreadful in the final third, it has to be said. And yeah, the other game, Villarreal were very much kind of spurning opportunities. It was one of those kind of open games where nobody's really taking their chances. So yeah, like, they're a tough team to predict at the best of times. I thought Marcelino would have them in a more consistent shape at the very least, even if not better or worse. But yeah, they do need the result here. So I think backing against them or going on a huge kind of goal spree here is too risky for me, especially at that price you mentioned at -190.
Just looking through the comments, Dave Clark is talking about the Real Madrid game. We'll be onto that very soon. Don't you worry. Jack Wright, great to see you. He was on the show yesterday. Had a nice hit with the Coventry assist provider in yesterday's game, the Dutchy, who I'm not even going to try and pronounce because I butchered it yesterday. And just looking through here, Klaus Locker, good to see you in the chat as well. Quite a lot of people in the chat liking the under here. Maybe Villarreal to win to 0 even, a low-scoring contest. It could be that 1-0 again. They get the result. Leganes keep it close, stay in the game. I suppose you can't even rule out a draw in this one. Leganes +2 looks like a safe punt, says Noah Goodman. For those who like to parlay things, +1.5. That is Rory Barlow's pick on the game. I don't have anything on this one myself, but I certainly can see your point of view there, Rory. Let's move on to now. This is the one match today in LaLiga. I must say, did catch my eye as a potential bet because I've been backing them quite a lot recently, and that is Valencia. Carlos Corberan is working miracles at that club. Got to tip my hat to him. I'm just really surprised to see them at +290 here. There's someone in chat said that Valencia have nothing to play for, but I mean they're only 2 points off the Conference League place. But it feels to me, Rory, like maybe no one's that bothered about getting the conference spot in Spain. I mean, I don't get that, because anyone who gets this spot will probably have a great chance of making the European semi-final next season. But it just shows you maybe the attitude towards it in the country. Alaves at +112, desperate for points in the relegation battle there. That just looks too short to me. And I know what your bet is here. You're going to agree with me there. That's for sure. But why are they such a short price, do you think? Is it simply a case of a motivation thing that the books are perhaps overlooking?
Yeah, perhaps. I mean, I think you could look at the results, Steve, and say that none of these teams want the Conference League spot, but I think it's more just down to the evenness of the league this season, and the fact that none of those kind of 5-6 teams that are in the running for it are particularly consistent or particularly good. But then you kind of contrast that with Valencia, who in the second half of the season have been very consistent and have been very good. It is Valencia away from home, so I think that's maybe something that probably takes a little bit of points away from them in terms of what the bookies are looking at. Alaves, it's very short. They're a returns team. They make life difficult. There's a lot of low scoring, 1-0s, 0-0s, 1-1s in their last kind of 5-10 games. So that tells you that they'll try and keep things tight as well. They don't really have a goal scoring edge. Kike Garcia, you can see placed up there at +195 on the anytime. That tells you that they don't have a consistent source of goals. But yeah, I like Valencia in this one. For me, they're just a better team than Alaves. And the fact that Valencia dealt with, albeit at home and albeit against a Getafe side that have fallen off a little bit, but dealt with Getafe 3-0 very comfortably, makes me think that they have to be big favourites for this. I will give you the out, which is the Tino bet is what I'm kind of backing as my official bet here, plus 150. That is at. But yeah, plus 290, I'd even have kind of half a unit kind of bet on that. I think, yeah, Valencia are just a better team right now, and they're in form, they're confident, and what a way to finish the season it would be for them, having been second bottom when Corberan took over.
Yeah, I'm glad you agree here, because I was worrying I've missed something, because I just don't see how there's possibly a case that Alaves can be the current odds they are. It makes no sense whatsoever that they're now plus 115. Who would back that, really? Honestly, Valencia are unbeaten in 10 games. Since the 13th of December, they've only lost 3 La Liga matches to Real Madrid, Barcelona, and Atletico Madrid. I think we can let them off that. Yeah, so how on earth can Alaves be plus 115? I mean, Alaves don't win many games, really. They do draw quite a few, which is a good point. And there's often, and they don't get, if they get beat, it's never very by many goals. I just think there's maybe some weird motivation thing that is affecting these odds, which is it's just wrong. I just don't think you could bet on Alaves here. It's amazing though, these obvious sort of players have often been letting me down this season, so hopefully we don't get anything strange here. But the Tino bet is that's got to be the best bet of the day for me. On absolute value, plus was it plus 155? No, not plus 155.
But yeah, it seems
150
very safe to me. And now Alaves will go and score in the first minute with a set piece and win the game 1-0. But yeah, in terms of what we know and in terms of what's on the table for us, logic and reason suggests Valencia win this match.
Yeah, and David's put it in there. I think sometimes they don't. The books don't always factor in the change of manager. It's been a while now since Corberan's been there, but he's really turned the ship around. Anyone who watches West Brom team, from what I've seen, there's quite a few similarities. You know what you're getting with Carlos Corberan, aren't you? He's organised. Not saying I don't want to use the word defensive, but certainly structured would be something. I believe this is one of the best jobs anyone's doing in European soccer. Rory, this is one of the most difficult clubs to manage. Are things improving at Valencia now off the field at all? Because they've been an absolute mess in that way.
I'd love to say yes, but Peter Lim, the owner, appointed his son Kiat Lim as the kind of chairman of the club this season. So that suggests that he's not going anywhere soon, and until he goes somewhere, then you're probably not going to see too much improvement off the pitch. But yeah, like you say, I mean, Corberan, in one of my kind of La Liga chats with a couple of other journalists, I mean, people were saying that Corberan getting Valencia into Europe would be the one thing that could take away manager of the season from Hansi Flick. So yeah, that goes to show you just how good a job he's doing. If he does get them into Europe, it will be one of the great achievements in Europe, as you were saying, as you rightfully analysed there, Steve.
Oh, thank you. 75% of the money is on Alaves on the money line. I don't get that. Honestly, please, if you are an Alaves backer, put it in chat. There's got to be someone out there that's backing them. And if you are backing them, I'd love to know the reasons why, whether it's some sort of model base or motivation base, or maybe there's some people betting and thinking, you know what, Valencia are due a defeat. Some people do bet that way. I'd be really interested to know. And with 61% of the money and 70% of the tickets are on the over as well for the match. That surprises me. I wouldn't really be looking at over goals in this type of fixture either. So yeah, I'm a bit befuddled. I am really, really baffled by this game. But hopefully Valencia can deliver. We really like Valencia here. Draw no bet. And we're not putting off anyone going for the money line either on the visitors here. Right, Real Madrid are in action, Rory, and there's a house special I need to talk about this one, and it is Kylian Mbappe to score at least one goal, and Real Madrid to win against Mallorca, minus 105. That could be quite a generous bet. I know you do like Mbappe in this particular fixture. We'll come on to that bet in a minute, but I mean, in terms of the match against Mallorca, Real Madrid minus 295. If they don't win the game, Barcelona are champions, right? Now, how would Real Madrid want to see Barcelona as champions? Would they want to just make it happen now off the field, or force them to go and get the result themselves tomorrow? Because if Real Madrid really needed a win in the title race, and the title race was legitimately alive, they'd probably be about minus 600 here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when I talked earlier about how it's difficult to predict games at the end of the season, this is the exact fixture I kind of had in mind. Real Madrid have 10 absences for this game. They've only got, I think it's 10 first-team players available. They're going to have to field a lineup with youngsters in it. They're going to have to field an awkward-looking lineup. It's against a Mallorca side that generally I've been keen to kind of fade or certainly not back in recent weeks because I think they've been very inconsistent. They don't have a clear source of goals as well as another thing I always look at. But I just couldn't tell you what's going to happen in this game. The only certainty that I do have, this is my official play in this one as well, is Kylian Mbappe to score. That was at -134. He is the only person in this Real Madrid side that has any real motivation apart from any youngsters that are coming in. He's in the Pichichi race. He's 2 goals ahead of Robert Lewandowski to be top scorer. So he will be motivated to score in this game. But Real Madrid do not care about this game. They want the season over. They want the season over without any more injuries. The players that are playing, I mean, yeah, it feels like the end of the season. It feels like the end of the term, as Graham Hunter put it earlier today. And yeah, just I think Real Madrid want done with this. But having said that, against a Mallorca side that have struggled of late, they're not too reliable in any sense in terms of defensively or offensively. So I couldn't say, well, Mallorca need this result because they're going for the Conference League as well. They're going to get a result. They're going to kind of put Real Madrid up against it here. I couldn't tell you that either. So yeah, Mbappe is the only thing that I looked at and was like, I know what's happening in his case at the very least. And to be fair, he's been in brilliant form. Scored a hat-trick at the weekend. It's just one of the 4 unfortunate people that have scored hat-tricks against Barcelona this season and still managed to lose.
Yeah, that was remarkable. To score a hat-trick and actually lose in El Clasico. -134 to score any time. There is that house special as well, for those who like it, for Kylian Mbappe to score and Real Madrid to win at -105. Would you go down that route, Rory, or just simply Mbappe to score is the safer bet? The bet.
You're going to have to edge game me here. Are there house specials available in play?
Well, that's a good question. I don't know whether producer Troy can answer that, but I think the house specials are only active pre-game.
I would look at it, but then I think honestly I would want to see 10 minutes of how Real Madrid are approaching this before I start backing Real Madrid to win it. Because I think that would have been a very easy and a parlay I would have kind of looked into if it wasn't for all the absences and the fact that, I mean, Ancelotti's already announced that he's gone. There's a few players. Rodrigo is not playing and there's doubts over his future. So yeah, there's so much uncertainty over Real Madrid that I wasn't keen to back them in this one.
Rick Haley has done very well out of this bet, and he's put it in the comments in the live chat on the Euro show all season. His 0-0 detector is out for Mallorca at half-time. Incredibly, 21 of their games this season in La Liga have been a draw at half-time, which is crazy. I don't know how many of those were 0-0, but I'd imagine most of them were. You can get plus 150, 165 on the tie at half-time for this game, and then 0-0 for those who are interested. Total goals under 0.5 in the first half, plus 255. I watched that game, but Barcelona, Mallorca, how that was only 1-0, I have no idea. It was like 40 shots. The goalkeeper went absolutely nuts. And whenever I see Mallorca this season, Mallorca always have a good goalkeeper, don't they? Whoever it is, in the last decade, they've always had a good keeper, Rory, and always make quite a lot of saves, in my experience. But I mean, they're another team. They're in the battle for this Conference League spot, but I don't know how serious they are about it. I mean, they only play one way, surely, against these top teams, and that's just low block defend, keeping the game.
I'll give you a good response to that. Yago Barasate, the manager for Mallorca, was asked at the weekend, do you want to be in this Conference League? Do you want to be in Europe? And he gave him a bit of a dressing down. He said, what do you think? You can look into my eyes and tell me if I want this or not. So yeah, I do think they want to get there. But yeah, it's been a bit of a weird season for Mallorca, who I expected more from. They have a good, solid block. They have a decent enough team, decent enough players, but have just kind of failed to catch that lightning in a bottle or that kind of real kind of feeling that they can play and beat anyone, which is what kind of those good sides in the mid-table have, where it's a come and beat us kind of attitude. Mallorca have just felt a little bit off the boil this season.
Just looking through some of the comments again, Real Brandon King. Am I irrationally weary of house specials or boosts? I'm always thinking they're a trap and there's always a catch. Now, these are interesting because I always say with the house specials, if you like the house special and you were going to bet that, absolutely take advantage of it. If it's not in your wheelhouse, then don't bet them, because quite a lot of them have won this season, I must say, on the live show. I've given these out, and I always look back at the end of the day and see what won, what lost, and I'm amazed how many actually have won. I've always say, don't go near it if you don't like the bet, but if it's something you were considering or you think you're getting an edge, then absolutely I would take them all day long. That's the way that I see them in that. Just some stats on the game. This will be no surprise. 98% of the money's on Real Madrid. 86% of the money's on the over. The biggest bet on the game so far is the same bet you advised, Rory. It's actually Kylian Mbappe to score. 4-figure wager on that. A particular bettor managed to get him at -125. Real Madrid has won 19 of its last 20 La Liga games following a loss. That was a stat that producer Troy gave me earlier. That's no real surprise either. Stay tuned, and we will be talking about Thursday's La Liga card.
And on that one, just quickly, Ancelotti hasn't lost 2 games in a row since 2014, I believe.
Wow, that's an incredible comeback.
2 La Liga games in a row.
A proud manager, isn't he? He doesn't want to get beaten at all, but back to back. Okay, so we've got, actually, there's 9 cup finals playing today in Europe, Rory. I've got the full list somewhere along here, but the one we're going to focus on is Bologna against AC Milan in the Coppa Italia. This was my main focus of research today. This match, of course, played on neutral territory in Rome, and AC Milan last won this competition in the 2002-03 campaign. As far as I'm aware, Bologna's last major trophy 51 years ago, and it was in this. They have won 2 Italian Cups in their club history. The 2 teams met, of course, on Friday evening. AC Milan won that match 3-1, and they're plus 143 to win the match in regulation in the 90 minutes. The ties at plus 215, Bologna at plus 200. 2 teams, I mean, for AC Milan, it's not been a great season. Bologna, it started off badly, and they improved it. They've got a manager in Vincenzo Italiano who's sadly lost his last 3 cup finals. 2 of when he was in charge of Fiorentina, 2 of them in the Conference League finals, and an Italian Cup final as well. So this manager really wants to get this monkey off his back, see if he can get the win. This Italian Cup final used to be a 2-legged affair back in the day, but since the 2007-2008 campaign, it has been a single-leg knockout, and only been 4 draws in the 90 minutes in the 17 fixtures since then, which that surprised me. I was looking at the odds today, and I thought the tie was maybe the direction I would go in, plus 215. But, the lack of draws in this final does surprise me. Then again, there would have been some big favourites in the final. This is more of a, not even Stevens final, but there's less of a clear favourite. Over 2.5 goals, 7 out of 17. Both teams to score, yes, 8 out of 17. So I couldn't really get a statistical edge in the game at all. But the bet that I do like for it is both teams score, yes. I really do think that if you look at how AC Milan have played since Christmas, then this would be the direction I've going. I mean, Sergio Conceição came in and everyone thought he'd play the same way that he played at Porto. But I guess it's not as simple as that, isn't it? If you've not got the type of players that you want yet. And I don't think he's got the squad that he wants with the style he wants here at AC Milan. And the best way for them to win the trophy is to win a shootout, I think. Not a mega shootout like a 4-3 or a 3-2, but just simply to outscore Bologna. So I think but both teams score, yes, at -139. I don't trust this AC Milan defense at all. They look like they're going to have Rafael Leao is back from suspension. It's going to be Jimenez or Jovic starting up front. And for Bologna, it looks like Lewis Ferguson is set to start, Rory. A big player, of course, for Bologna. This is an intriguing, quite nice to see 2 teams going to win a bit of silverware here. Probably not going to. Well, they're not going to qualify for the Champions League. And either of these sides, who's going to lift the trophy? Do you think?
Yeah, it's a really Bologna are a better unit for me than AC Milan, but AC obviously just have bags more quality. I mean, Reinders in midfield. You got Leao. So like you kind of think if Bologna turn up and play as well as they can, I'd like to give them an edge because I think this means more to them. Obviously, Italiano, you said it means a lot more to him as well. AC Milan, Reinders said before this game that even if we win this, the season is still a failure. So yeah, that tells you kind of what the atmosphere is like at San Siro. But yeah, like it's a weird one. I think I'd like Bologna to maybe score. I'd be kind of looking at Bologna overs for shots. I'd need to double check what that's at the moment, but because I think they will have a spell in the game where they kind of go at Milan, and even if they don't necessarily win the game, they're going to have a spell where either they have to throw everything at them because they're down, or they're going to go at them and hopefully kind of take this scruff of the neck. But yeah, it's a difficult one to call for me because AC, they're an up and down time. Nobody would have given them a chance against Inter before they played them in the semi-final, and they ran out kind of 3-0, 3-1 winners, and that goes to show you those kind of game states. Whoever gets that first goal, especially in this game as well, because Bologna, like you say, don't necessarily have the firepower that AC do. That first goal is going to be so crucial, and I sound a bit like Pep Guardiola, though. So crucial. But yes, I think that first goal is going to be huge in this game. And yeah, it's the better unit against the better talent for me. So yeah, it's a tough one to call.
Yeah, I actually do like the tie at +2. I think the 1-1 draw is in play here. And if someone did go 2-1 up, I think, even 2-2 wouldn't shock me. AC Milan have scored at least 2 goals in 8 of their last 11 games in all competitions. That seems to be the way they're having to operate at the moment because their defence, like I said, is just not reliable enough. So, I mean, they're actually +132 for those who do like that bet to score over 1.5 goals in the 90 minutes. I think both teams to score yes at -139 would be my best bet for the game. Bologna not easily beaten, 2 losses in 13 in all comps. They've had a good run. I'd like to see them win the trophy. I'm kind of a little bit led by my heart here. I wanted to try and get Bologna on side in some way, but Mark B made a very good point in the comments here. I just want to bring it up. He thinks some of he calls them fair weather Milan players, but they are quite big names, some of these guys that might raise it on the big stage. They got experience and they can turn it on. If they're in the mood, then I think Milan probably will have the edge, and the odds do reflect that. So that would be my concern if I wasn't a Bologna backer. Will these Milan stars individually turn up and deliver a performance? Sometimes cup finals, it can be won by a moment of brilliance or lost by mistake, of course, as well. But I do think this could end a 1-1 draw. I think it'll be quite a closely contested fixture, but not maybe a tight one. Might be completely wrong there. But I say, did a good bit of research on the game today. I do think both teams score yes is what I'm going to be betting on that myself. So that's the Italian Cup final. There's also, like I said, there's tons of other Cup finals today in Europe. I was going to get John to do a graphic for these earlier, but we might have been asking a bit too much, actually. But we've got Trabzonspor against Galatasaray, the Turkish Cup final. We've got a Czech Cup final involving Sparta Prague. We've got Shakhtar Donetsk against Dynamo Kiev. Rijeka against Slavan Belupo in Croatia. That's the first leg. Ferencvaros against Pax in Hungary. That'll be a good one. And we've got Cluj against Hermannstadt in Romania. I genuinely had never heard of that team, Hermannstadt. Some of these games might have even kicked off already, actually. I've not checked the timings of them. But if you are interested, if you like betting on cup finals, Rory, today is the day. Absolutely, today is the day. So many across the board. I missed one. There's a Bosnian cup final as well. Sarajevo against Brijeg. That's the second leg. And also in Slovenia, we've got Koper against Shelley. So there's, loads of them. Quite interesting, I think. Just looking at a comment here from A. Is it me or do the odds for Milan lifting a trophy look too fishy? You'd have expected them to be shorter due to their experience. To win the trophy, did I get the odds on the graphic for that one? I think we don't have that. I'm trying to find the latest odds. Here we go. -134 to lift the trophy. Bologna +100. Yeah, I can actually get where you're coming from there, eh? I would have thought -150, probably, if not a -155 range. So, is it a trap? Is it a Star Wars game, as I call them? These, I don't know. I hope it's a good one. I do think there's goals in it though, so both teams score yes. We've also got a Swedish Allsvenskan midweek round. I thought I'd touch on it. We've got 3 games today and 5 games tomorrow. Today's matches are the first 3 on the card there. Halmstad Geist is a really tough game between two poor teams. Every single Geist match has gone under 2.5 goals this season. They're due an over 2.5 match, really. I wouldn't get involved there. The Häcken against AIK match is also a difficult one. Never would go over goals with AIK. They've got a manager who's very defensive. I think the Hammarby Sirius game is very interesting for player props. There's two players there that I really like, actually. We've got Nahir Bessara to score any time for Hammarby, plus 155. And for Sirius, they've got a player called Leo Walter, plus 540 anytime scorer. I think it's a really big value bet. He scored 4 goals in his last 4 games. He's on penalty kicks. He's on all the free kicks as well, dangerous positions. Often listed playing as a D mid, which is probably why he's plus 540. But he gets more advanced than some people think. And I say a wizard technical player. And, there is defensive absences for Hammarby. A guy, unfortunately, named Shakil Pinas is ruled out through suspension. But he's actually really big player, then really important player for them.
You couldn't resist that, Steve. You knew exactly what you were doing.
I didn't. I was honestly. I had to watch what I said there. But he is a really important defender for them. So I think Sirius could score in the game. My actual best bet for the round comes tomorrow, and it's actually on the page 1 here, but it's tomorrow's match. IFK Norrköping against Degerfors, and it's over 2.5 goals at minus 132. If you're going to have one bet in the Swedish midweek card, it's got to be that over 2.5 goals there. And I've said it before, Norrköping have a very good player called Christopher Nyman. He's actually plus 148 to score any time. That's probably a bet as well, but they're a really offensive team. And Degerfors have goals in them. They can't defend very, very well. A player of theirs scored 5 goals in the league opener this season, Omar Faraj. He hasn't scored since, but he's been out for about 5 matches due to a concussion. Came off the bench in the last match. It's a massive boost for Degerfors. And then on to page 2, the other match which would interest me is Malmo, who are away to Värnamo, who have lost every game bar 1 this season. So there's a clear golfing class. Malmo did let a lot of people down against Bromma Poikana recently, but they bounced back with a good win at the weekend with a 4-1 away win. And they really should have too much for Värnamo. But I think over 2.5 goals is a good bet there as well, minus 117. Malmo could cover the goal line on their own, but I don't like what I'm seeing defensively from them at the moment. And they're another team with a suspension. Rosler is ruled out. Loads of suspensions. We're at that stage, round 9 now in Sweden, where I think it only takes 3 yellow cards and you're suspended. So you've got to check the team news in Scandinavia now a lot more. It's because the suspensions are racking up. The League One, Noah Goodman. If you want to check out the League One game, I quizzed Jack Wright yesterday on the remaining playoffs, and he went quite deep into today's game. So do check out yesterday's live show on that one. And then tomorrow as well, we've got 4 more La Liga games. I just thought I'd get your thoughts on here, Rory. We'll do predictions and sort of maybe a best bet across the card. But I mean, Rayo Vallecano, Real Betis, how do you see that one going?
I think with Rayo, they are a decent team at home. They can cause problems for anyone. But I quite like Real Betis in this. If they are going to get into the Champions League spots, they're kind of vying with Villarreal. They're a couple of points behind. They need the win in that game. So I like Betis to get the win. I think away as well, that's decent enough odds. And Betis, too, they did suffer against Osasuna, but they made a few changes for that game. They didn't have Anthony until the second half. Isco came second half. So, yeah, I think Betis are my favourites to win that one. I think, in general, they should have just enough, especially this midweek round, to beat Rayo. Osasuna Atleti, again, is like one of those completely bonkers sides to predict, because Osasuna are in the conference race. Their manager has just announced that he's going. They played quite well against Betis as it happened. They were very good. They drew 2 each, should be said. And Atleti, who have been kind of nothing since they've dropped out of the title race, essentially. put 4 past Real Sociedad at the weekend. Alexander Sørloth put 4 goals in the first half. So you just don't know what you're going to get from Atleti at this point. I think I'd maybe kind of look at handicaps for Osasuna because Atleti are obviously still favourites, but Osasuna have more on the line for them. So I'd be kind of looking into the Asian handicaps on that one. And then
the Getafe game, bro, I just want because they're a team for me. I love teams that sort of, I mean, we use the phrase on the beach, down tools, whatever. Every league seems to have a couple of teams that just finish the season terribly. It happened last season. They're on a terrible run again, Getafe. I think they probably thought they were definitely safe. They may well be safe. They might have enough points. But, I mean, I just thought Athletic Bilbao at plus 155 looked quite a big price considering Getafe's recent form. But how hungry do you think Getafe will be? And I suppose today's results will impact it.
Yeah, I think there's 2 factors. As the other one is how hungry are Athletic going to be, because they're 6 points ahead of Betis now in 6th. So they know more or less. Probably only need another 3-4 points to guarantee it, but probably only need 1 or 2 more points to get into the Champions League. A point away from home at Getafe is not the worst result. They do have Barcelona on the final day, so they won't want to go into that game needing anything. But they've also been dealing with absences. Oyan Sanset came back at the weekend, and that was kind of the difference for them against Alaves. But the fact that they're only beating Alaves 1-0 at home is also kind of a sign that they're maybe not in the best form. I think they've been really struggling over the last month or two, and Manchester United came at the wrong time for them. So, yeah, I'd be kind of looking into draw no bet. I don't really see Getafe winning that game, but I could see Athletic, a side that are short of goals generally, maybe needing or maybe ending up having to settle for the point in that game. So, yeah, the draw no bets, I think I just had it up there, but I can find it for you as well, is where I'd probably be looking at for them. I just don't think that they necessarily have the firepower to be a guarantee in any game right now, let alone against a Getafe side that have no real need to come out of their shell and generally defend quite well and quite organised, even if they've kind of fallen off, as you say, lately. So yeah, that's where my thinking's up there.
The Espanyol Barcelona game, I mean, this is such a difficult one because if Real Madrid don't win today, then Barcelona, I think, probably will kick off maybe minus 200. I don't know. I mean, of course it's a local derby, which is worth mentioning. So Espanyol are not just going to roll over and have their tummies tickled, are they? Whatever the circumstance in this one, it feels like probably we need to know tonight's result before we can bet on this game. But I mean, this would be for Barcelona to actually clinch the title, against their city rivals would rank up there as one of the nicer things that could happen to them, right?
Yes, and also let's not forget this would be the second time in 3 years that this has happened. The last time it happened, Espanyol were kind of in the process of being relegated, and the pitch got invaded when Barcelona were celebrating on the pitch of their rivals, celebrating the title, dancing around in the centre circle. So yeah, there's a lot of morbo, as we say in Spain. There's a lot of kind of aggro and kind of enmity, a lot of anger between these two sides. Espanyol will have the motivation of playing the spoil sport in this game. I still like Barcelona to win it, but I think it's actually quite a hard game to get value on. Again, with that one, because Espanyol will set up to spoil it, Barcelona don't need to win necessarily. I think it's quite a hard one. Given the way that this Barcelona side have played, I'd still back them, and I'd still probably back goals. Over 3.5 is quite a long line, though, as well. So for a derby as well, let's not forget, a derby against a defensive side. Lewandowski would be my one to look out for here. Again, similarly, in that kind of sense.
Has he scored his 100th goal yet?
No, he has not.
Yeah, because this is the thing, isn't it? That every time he scored 100 goals before for his previous clubs, he's had a message under his shirt, right? And there's a lot of people waiting for him to score this 100th goal, and they think that basically Lewandowski to score and be carded is an option. Because you get, we're not going to do the physical action here on stream, but if you lift your shirt up, not fully, but to reveal a message, that's a yellow card in La Liga, right? Those are the rules.
As far as I believe, I think the message is, but this is again one of those things where referees can be quite up and down. But yeah, so yellow card's certainly not a bad angle to take there. But yeah, Lewandowski anytime for what it's worth, minus 130. That's where I'd be looking in that game. Because, again, he's the one that has the most motivation of anybody on that pitch for that game.
Yeah, I'm just trying to work out what the SGP would be on Lewandowski to score and be carded. I'm sure it's there. Dan and Simon can go through it tomorrow. They are on the live show. We are done now. Thank you very much, Rory. It was a great pleasure, as always. Thank you, everyone who came in. Remember, there's several live streams you can watch today on the soccer, all those La Liga games that I mentioned, the League One playoff match, Stockport, Leyton Orient, the Swedish games. Most of those cup finals, I think, are streamed that I mentioned. We've got Scottish Premiership action as well. Aberdeen Celtic streamed. MLS, there's a house special MLS later. Lionel Messi to score at least 2 goals in Inter Miami against the San Jose Earthquakes. That's a plus 390 for a Leo Messi brace or more in that particular match. But yes, tomorrow we've got, Simon Holden's on the show with Dan Roebuck. They're going to be looking at that La Liga card in detail. PGA Championship starts tomorrow as well, so Simon will probably have, well, almost certain will have some plays in that respect. And on Friday, I'm back with Simon Holden. We've got a double Premier League game and a full round of Norwegian League fixtures, which I will be assessing on Friday's live show. Coming up about an hour and 15 minutes, Betting Weekly Tennis Live with Nigel Seeley and Rory Giwani today. And then we've got Betting Weekly Hardball and Betting Weekly Fast Break to conclude the day as well. So the action keeps coming on the channel. If you're new, do hit the like button, do hit the subscribe button. It'd be greatly appreciated. Thanks so much for your support as ever. And before you go, Rory, what is your best bet today, would you say?
It's got to be the, as again, you picked out that Valencia one. Tino bet Valencia at plus 150. It's just too tempting. I don't see Alaves winning that one. And just for that second game, that second kind of look at the cards tomorrow. Probably look at Betis plus 140. They're at just now. So yeah, Betis to win that plus 140 on the money line is quite appealing. I think it's good value for money at the very least. Yeah,
they're playing very, very well, Real Betis. That's for sure. But good luck whatever you are taking today. I mean, I've got to agree with you. The best bet today just looks to be Valencia on a draw no bet handicap. I mean, I'm almost suspicious myself how big they are. I thought they'd be the favourite. I don't get how Alaves can be plus 115 in this game today. So hopefully Carlos Corberán can deliver. A disciple of Bielsa, which always rings well with me. But thanks so much, Roy. Thanks so much, everyone. Remember to gamble responsibly and do catch the remaining shows today and Betting Weekly Live tomorrow with Dan and Simon. Take care. See you all.